Hello, I wanted to jump on and do a quick video about a conversation that I had last night with my boyfriend, who is also training to be a posture therapist. And because we're sad losers who talk about this stuff all the time, we were driving back from a yoga class and I said, we were talking about what mobility means and about how people like push and want to be flexible, but actually being flexible isn't necessarily a good thing if you're very flexible without having strength. So mobility is this kind of perfect in between of being flexible and being strong. So people can be very flexible, but very hyperextensive. They don't have the strength in the joints, that they're sort of buckling into their knees or their elbows or whatever it might be due to a lack of strength in other places in their body. So we were agreeing that you can be flexible without being strong. And I said, and you can't be strong without being flexible. And my boyfriend disagreed with me on this because he was like, well, when you think about strong people, lots of them aren't flexible. Like when you think about that kind of typical gym going man who just pumps lots and lots of weights. And he was like, that would be a strong man, but he's not flexible. And I was like, but he's not strong, because actually what makes him strong at one thing, that one thing that he can do, lifting weights, that power that he has in certain ranges of movement, but a lack of kind of give and flexibility, and I don't mean that in a kind of physical sense, but in a lack of variety that he has of movement is actually going to be his greatest weakness. By only preparing your body for one type of movement, and when I say one type of movement, I don't mean like just lifting your arm above your head, but if you are only going to the gym and lifting extremely heavy weights and not doing things like working on your hip mobility or trying to become more flexible in yoga and that type of thing, if you're only building towards one thing, that will be the thing that ends up injuring you. That will be the thing that breaks you at some point. So it was like a kind of a bit of an argument actually, but I was like, the thing is what that man views as being his greatest strength, being able to lift heavy at the gym, will end up being his greatest weakness, because by only concentrating on that one thing, he will at some point down the line roll over on his ankle or something like that. He's on a walk with his children, he rolls on his ankle, and because he hasn't been focusing on his ankle flexibility and he's only been thinking about how muscly his biceps and his upper body is, that roll on the ankle will be the thing that knocks out his knee or hurts his back, which then prevents him from training at the gym and doing the thing that he loves most. And I really think this goes for absolutely anything. So the yogi who only practices yoga and isn't doing yoga in a very kind of good way, I guess, and is very hypermobile and overly flexible and buckling into their joints, whilst that flexibility is going to benefit them when they do yoga, when they then take that body to running, that body won't be able to cope with running. So what is their strength in yoga becomes their weakness in the other things that they do. The golf player who has an amazing, kind of swing over the right-hand side of their body, they might be really, really, really good at hitting that ball over and over and over again in that twisting motion, so that becomes kind of locked into their posture, because that's what happens. The habits and the things that you do the most of get trapped in your body. So that twisted golfer who's extremely good at doing golfing shots in that twisting motion is going to really struggle if they try and go swimming to move their left arm, because their body is locked and rotated, and then they might try and lift a heavy bag with their left arm, and the rotation and twisting that they've got going on through their pelvis and rib cage then leads them to a left shoulder injury or something like that. So again, what has been their strength for their yoga practice becomes their weakness in another application of real life. Someone that does lots, and actually climbing's a good one, because I'm a climber. I'm a terrible climber, but I do climbing, so I see lots of climbers. Climbers have terrible posture by and large. They are often so rounded in their upper back and hooded in their shoulders, and heads are forward. Terrible, terrible posture. But that makes them good at climbing, because it's that kind of strength in the upper body in a specific range of movement that helps them be really good at climbing, but it's that head position and that shoulder position that is leading them to their headaches and their dizzy spells and things like that, and can be the thing that gives them like chronic wrist problems, which will then start working against their climbing. So because they've become so sort of strong and overly dominant up here, a number of years down the line, actually the wrists can't take the load anymore because the shoulders are so out of position. So once again, what was once their strength has become their weakness. And this video was, as you can probably tell, completely off the cuff and unprepared. But what I wanted to say with that is that however much you might want to be really, really good at something specific, which I completely understand, it's really important to know that deep down, if you only focus on getting really, really good at one thing, unless you are extremely careful about how you train for that thing, you will find that what makes you very good at that thing could be the thing that then leads you in the future towards injury and towards kind of weak spots and other things that you try and do. So my point being is, I think more people need to try and be generalists. And I don't consider, when I'm thinking about movement in my way, like I want to have a body that can do anything that I take it to without injury, which, touch wood, at the moment is the body that I have. I can literally take my body to anything I want to do, anything random, a dance class, a walk, a run, a high intensity gym class, a yoga session, a climbing session, just random stuff. I can do those things without any negative effects because I try so hard to keep my body like evenly balanced as best I can and not very, very, very good at just one thing. I want to be a generalist rather than a specialist, but because by being a generalist human in terms of movement and stuff like that, you will have a body that is just more adaptable and capable of all the amazing things that are available to the human body. So bit of a different video today, but I just thought I would talk about that and see if anyone fancies agreeing with me or disagreeing with me. Both are absolutely fine. I can take it, but let me know what you think. Bye.